What's up, everybody? I'm here with the legend, Tyler Engel. Actually, Tyler back in the day was my arch rival in high school. Back in the day in high school, I hated Tyler Engel. He played for Sandburg High School. I played for Lockport.
Rivals.
This kid was my rival.
The rivalry.
Stomping on me and giving me stuff like that. But
a little competitive edge never hurts.
Absolutely. So Tyler, how are things?
Things are good. Things are good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. So, obviously, it's understood that you've played at probably the highest level in American soccer that's really possible. I mean, there's really
Absolutely.
no one that can really disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your dream as a kid to play at that level?
Definitely. When I grew up, I had an older brother who played soccer, and kind of I was always around the team, you know, so whether it was his practice or games, I was there trying to just play, you know, do anything. Play with the bigger kids. Obviously, they didn't like that, so I didn't do too much of that. But I still was always around the field just playing as much as I could. So basically, at a young age, I started to love the game. And then basically ever since then, yeah, it was a dream and aspiration to play professionally.
That's cool. So your brother led the way, huh?
A little bit, yeah. I would say he definitely not pushed me, but just because he was playing so much that it kind of opened up my eye to how awesome the game is, and you know, just the passion that I grew for it just took me on, you know, a great journey.
So you've played at the highest level in American soccer.
Mm-hmm.
What challenges did you have, like, from the get-go? What were some of your biggest challenges as a kid?
American soccer is different than definitely European and whatnot. It's a lot more physical and running. So you got to definitely be very fit and be strong, meaning you don't have to have all these muscles, but you got to have a lot of core strength. Got to be able to maintain, you know, your body control if you're getting bumped.
Yeah.
Because as a little smaller player, I was one that, playing high school, I was on varsity as a freshman. So my freshman year, I would get bullied. Literally, anytime I would have the ball, somebody would just come push me. And so I just started thinking, you know, how can I get around these guys that are bigger, stronger, faster?
Okay.
And so what helped me with that is I kind of learned how to pass and move more.
Okay.
But then as I got older, I realized that I needed to also get stronger.
Okay.
And be able to run longer.
Yeah.
So fitness, huge aspect of the American game.
Absolutely. So
in any game, to be honest.
Yeah. So you're starting as a varsity player, as a freshman.
Yeah.
Your plan is to learn how to do these things, right?
Yep.
With that plan in mind, like, what were some of your hurdles? Like,
so basically
anything like backlash on you? I don't know.
Kind of. I mean, I guess so. You kind of, when you try to play, and like when you're playing in the high school games, say, when those guys are faster and you try to do these combinations, they don't come off as much, and so you get down on yourself, and then you lose the ball more when you're trying these things because it's a faster-paced game.
Okay.
But what you can't do is shy away from those hard environments, you know, and then start relying more so on your, you know, physical attributes as opposed to your technical attributes, because at the end, the technical attributes will take you farther because the physical attributes will eventually come along, you know, as you mature.
Perfect. So how did those things translate into the college level?
Oh,
for you?
For me, it was very good. So basically, my freshman year, I was a littler kid, and then I started to grow. You know, sophomore year, a little stronger. Then my junior year, my dad put me with the private trainer working out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like weights. And so that helped out a lot. I got pretty strong, and then guys were not pushing me off the ball anymore, and after that, my technique and my knowledge of the game were allowing me to beat them not only with my mind, but then my speed and my agility was taking over too. So I was kind of beating them in both ways.
I love that you said that, because like when I started playing in Florida, I developed physically. Like, I had this jump in physicality.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it gave me a whole brand new perspective on like certain situations.
Absolutely.
Like, my mind was like, okay, now you're able to do these things.
Yeah.
Like, now you can think this
about
this,
the other,
this.
yeah. Now you can think about
like,
the other aspects of the game, not
Absolutely.
worrying about, you know, whether it's, say, just for physical aspect, whether you're tired, worrying about your breathing, like, oh crap, the ball's coming to me and I'm tired. You know, that's a huge thing that happened to me for many times in a game, you know. And then when you get older, you start to realize you gotta go do those extra running, you know, that extra couple miles on your day off. That definitely helps.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So in high school, I knew what. Tell me about your coach at Sandburg. What went on there at Sandburg?
Sandburg, we had Jack Ferraro.
Yeah, he's a good coach, or what?
I mean, he was all right. He was not the best, not the worst. Then honestly, where I learned the most was club.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
high school soccer was kind of more like fun.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to go there. We weren't like, I
With your
wasn't
friends,
worried.
yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't ever worried about playing time. I wasn't going to worry about if I made the team.
Yeah.
Where like other kids that kind of are like that. But then like, so when you're in club atmosphere, that's kind of more of like, whereas you learned a lot of your shape and you're held accountable, you know, practice environments really high, really intense.
Yeah.
Where like, you're keeping track of how many turnovers you have, you know, not just messing around in training, which
Yes.
is a very common thing I see around because I have my own little training thing that I do with kids and whatnot. When I see regular practices, even players, even sometimes coaches don't hold everybody accountable enough and value the possession of the ball.
Yeah.
You want to be holding
That's true.
yourself accountable because in the game, if you lose the ball, the other team gets it. So therefore, if you're not holding yourself accountable in practice,
Yeah.
in the game you're going to be losing the ball and therefore probably lose the game because you're losing the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So you got to start it when practicing. I mean, build the right mentality, the right habits.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me in trainings, more so at club.
Absolutely. So a lot of parents these days are like, should my kid do high school or should my kid do club? And they're
Yeah.
like, that's one of these like things that these parents
Yeah.
continue to debate about.
Yeah.
And obviously there's pros and cons to
Yes.
like both scenarios.
Yes.
What were some of your what's the biggest pro for playing club soccer other than like the competitiveness?
Well, the exposure as well.
Okay.
Definitely. I mean, in club soccer, you're going to get way more exposure.
Gotcha.
In high school, you get exposure in the state.
Yeah.
Club, you can get exposure nationally.
Yeah.
So high school, very few college scouts, if any, that are D1 are coming to those high school games.
Right. Makes
Very few.
Makes sense.
I don't want to say zero because
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
But
unless there's a select few high schools that like are stacked with
Absolutely.
player 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. And that basically, what game they would be coming to is like the state championship.
Yes.
They would, they're not going to be coming to your traditional game.
Right.
But in club, you can be getting those guys coming to, like, say you're playing somebody like Scott Gallagher versus, a Magic or some around here.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
they'll be at that game watching.
Right.
So
So you started with Chicago Magic.
yes.
What year how old were you when you transitioned to Chicago Fire?
Well, we were 18, so that's my last year. We were in the academy, so we had a really good team, and we made it. We got 5th and 3rd the first 2 years of the academy.
Okay.
And then the last year, the Magic got bought out by somebody,
Okay.
and they fired our head coach.
So everything got
And
shaken
then the
up.
Fire hired our head coach, and so they brought us all over.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Patrick Duty about this.
Yeah.
And everything got shooken up right then. Right?
Mhm.
Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. So basically, we're at Academy Finals, and we had a huge game playing. Basically, it was for the national championship. It was against Michigan Wolves. Whoever wins this game is going to the final. And we're dominating them. They get a set piece goal. They're a traditional Midwest team, real big, strong, and they get us corner goal. We lose 1-0, so we're real pissed. And then we find out that our club's getting bought out by some guy, and he's firing our coach.
Oh my
So
gosh.
this is just chaos. And at this time, basically the Fire and the Magic had all the best kids in the state. So we were kind of combining and making a super team, But
Yeah.
it didn't really pan out as good as we wanted. We didn't make it to the finals that year. The Academy Finals. That was actually the only year in the Academy that I didn't make it, is when we had basically all the best kids in the state.
Gotcha.
So, but then there's also like contradicting philosophies going at coaching styles,
Yeah.
Once you bring in a coach and then the other coach, they all want their own ideas. So it's kind of
Yeah.
a
And
double-edged sword.
I'm not going to get into too much today, but I mean, politics plays a huge
Oh.
part.
Yeah, that's
in
it. I
all
don't want to
this.
get into that because,
Yeah.
that's a different story.
Yeah,
for-
it's a whole nother topic.
yeah, we could get into that on a different topic. But definitely, politics are a huge aspect.
Which
In
is
all sports,
unfortunate, but it's part
Yeah,
of it's just
that's part of the game,
part.
and you got to understand it if you want to keep going through the ranks of the game.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So, academy,
Yeah.
high school, you started with SMU.
Yep.
How did they recruit you?
So
How did you
basically,
get recruited? Tell me about the recruitment
yeah, recruiting.
process.
A little history or a little background on the recruiting process. So we always had a really good team. So it's going to be a little different than most players, to be honest.
Okay.
My team, we were always the top team in the nation, like every year, best team in the state, top team in the nation. So we always had a lot of scouts and whatnot coming to our games, blah blah blah. So right when the they were able to start contacting you, I started to get letters and messages right away from multiple schools.
Okay.
But a lot of the showcases that the academy put on helped for that, you know. So I didn't have to go out and do these showcases that colleges were putting on or go do college camps, because these showcases had all these college coaches coming in because the academy organizes it that way, and you kind of just, they're at your game, so you got to perform. So one of the bigger things is basically your junior year is the bread and butter year. That's when coaches are able to talk to you. That's when they're looking to sign players for their season. And so I understood that, and I mean, you need to make sure when your junior year you're playing some of your best soccer. You know, that's very important. And then just way to make yourself, basically, have yourself stick out, I guess, is just work ethic. A lot of people don't value that. Like when kids turn the ball over, how do you react to that? Don't just put your head down and go, because recruiting coaches really look for reactions. Whether you score a goal, do you get overexcited, you know, blah, blah. Whether you lose the ball, do you get too down? You know, they'd rather have that mediocre player who's not too high, not too low, you know. So that's a big aspect of what coaches are looking for, you know.
So are they looking for, like, emotional stability?
Yes, and also though passionate too, meaning but they don't want the guy who is passing the ball and then giving it away and then not working hard. Yeah. You know, it's all right to get mad and be swear and whatnot. I'll be the first to say I was very passionate on the field, but I wasn't one when I turned the ball over to just put my head down. You know, that's what I mean by that. I don't mean don't be passionate. Yeah. And sometimes you do get really up in the game, high in the game because you score a big goal. That's fine, but you got to also make sure once the game starts back up, you brought your emotions back down.
Absolutely. And I think some kids these days, they watch these superstars play. Yeah. And some of these guys, they do turn the ball over. And they complain with the ref.
Exactly.
But that's a whole different game.
They're such on a different platform because why? Those guys are going down and scoring a goal almost once a game. Yeah. So if you're going to be that type, and at the highest level, they're not just doing it at even academy level. They're doing it at the professional level and the top leagues in the world.
Absolutely.
So therefore, when they lose the ball, it's all right because for example, like a Neymar, he's going to go down and score maybe or create 2-3 goals a game. Right. Very few players are doing that every game. Right. And you're absolutely, that's a very good point. Yeah. And that's the aspect of the game you don't want to take from those superstars.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. So you're at SMU. You redshirted first year.
Yes.
You actually got a ton of playing time second year.
Yeah. Played a lot.
Probably scored. What did you score? 10 goals?
No. I had 5 and 4.
5 and 4. Okay.
So yeah, well, so I went into college. This is a good little thing too. I went into college. I was doing well in the academy. It was a really high recruit. Our class was really high. We were top 5, I believe, recruiting class. Okay. And so I went in there, thinking I was going to play, blah, blah, blah. Didn't really work hard in the off season going into my freshman year. Thought my shit didn't stink, Okay. Got a quick reality check, which was honestly the best thing for my playing, Went in there, was out of shape. Thought I was in shape. That's a big thing. Kids think, and even players think you're in shape. But then when you go, even for me, even when I went into Toronto, I thought I was in shape. But when I went in there, no, there's a different level of shape, of how much running you truly have to do. And so that's kind of what first happened at SMU. And so, rightfully so, I deserved to be redshirted. But then I started to realize this halfway through the season. I started to play really well in practice. And coach was offered, he's like, hey, we're going to probably start playing you. Do you want to play or do you want to take your redshirt? And I just said I'd rather redshirt and, save it because there's 5-6 games left. And our team was already doing really well. Right. And I'd play 10 minutes a game.
You already missed
10%. Yeah, exactly. And so that's another thing that players got to realize too. It ultimately is somewhat of a business, That's what players got to understand because that's how coaches and, organizations are looking at it. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it is. And so then
it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole nother loophole or a whole nother rabbit hole that we could go down, but we won't today.
Yeah, no.
But
that could be a 15-hour conversation. No.
But the way you handle yourself season after season and those little nuances that parents don't know about,
And exactly. So
and the kid is all of a sudden just in this, in this environment.
And they think it was almost just given to a lot of players, but at the same time, a lot of players go through hardships. So that was a hard thing. I had to start looking at myself as opposed to looking at the coaches why I wasn't playing or whatnot.
Right.
And when I started to do that, that's instantly when I started to play.
Yeah.
And that's instantly when I started to excel. And that's when it went on and on because I stopped looking around. I stopped making excuses. I started looking at myself and holding myself as accountable as, I could. Meaning,
self-awareness.
Yeah, meaning like if anybody was going to hold me accountable, I was going to do it and I'm going to do it the hardest.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have somebody else tell me that they're holding me accountable more than I am.
Absolutely.
So once I started to do that, then it just started,
game changer.
Yeah, and it was just, it went straight up from there,
I love that because I think that's, like you said, on one side of the spectrum, you're moving along, you think your shit don't stink, and then on the other side of the spectrum, total self-awareness, total responsibility,
Absolutely.
Taking
100%.
responsibility, and that just totally changes the game.
Yeah.
And that is what, I try to implement in some of the teachings
Definitely.
that I do.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
100%, so do I. And you have to. Because it's
huge.
I was going to say.
It's fundamental, really.
It's basically, there's going to be one, maybe two players, that I even come in contact that aren't going to have to go through a struggle during their playing career and just going to always be the best.
Yeah.
I'll be lucky if I train one or two kids like that. That means they're just superstars almost.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because it's just the way it is. And that's how you even become a better player.
Yes.
Because then you realize how much you got to grind. You truly understand it.
Absolutely. So you're at SMU, you redshirt first year.
Yeah.
Second year you come along.
Yeah.
So wait, the coach gave you an option to redshirt. He just...
Well, no, they told me, they basically were like, we're redshirting you. And then I started to do really well during basically after 5 weeks of the season.
Of training.
I was always doing a little better, because I went in and then I started, like I said, halfway through the first couple games, I was like, you know what? Stop saying you deserve to be playing and start just proving it. Every day in training, just be better. That's what I started telling myself. And then I'd start when we were playing the first team, meaning the starters, I would start to score goals against them in our scrimmages because you do that at least once or twice a week, And so I started to, and then the coaches were looking, and they're probably, they're asking whoa, we want to win. Because at that time, the year before we went into SMU, we were 5-10. So this year, we went 15-1-2 in the season, and we were 10-0 at the point when our coach was at. So he's thinking we have a shot to go, really far, which we did.
So he's
wanting to win
the game
now.
changes. He's got to make moves.
Yeah, exactly. He's not worried about next year because he wants to win now.
Right.
And so
that's a good point.
That's what he was thinking, and then he was thinking. Now, honestly, was looking out, which I had advice from my parents, which was good for myself as well. Not only for the team but also myself. And I'm glad I made that decision.
Yeah, that's good, because then you come on second year.
Yeah, I came on second year, and I didn't start, though, right away. And I came in, and one of the
He's probably thinking, if I don't start Tyler, you're just going to do it.
No, well, this is what they said. This is funny, because I was in shape, but I came in shape. And what they're worried about is that summer spell where, players go back. Some players don't work hard.
Yep.
And so we had a fitness test at Cooper, and they told me this after the season. They said, if I wouldn't have passed that Cooper test, that they weren't going to play me. And I passed it, obviously, because I came in hard. Because I knew I had to run on work.
Yeah.
So I passed it, and then, I didn't start the first couple games. I'd sub on, and I just kept the same attitude that I had when I told you. What about, don't worry about what the coaches, just worry about your game, how you can affect yourself, how you can be better,
Yeah.
And I kept that mentality. Then 5 games into the season, I'm playing more than the starters, but I'm not starting yet. And then, 10 games into the season, I'm starting. And then the conference tourney, we end up winning the conference tourney. I had 3 goals, 3 assists, played really well.
So you lit it up right when
I started.
It was prime time.
Yeah, exactly. So I was actually kind of I kind of was a player, not always played down to my competition, but then always was super out for the big games and played really well in the big games.
That's true.
I always did. It was just weird. I had a decent amount of NCAA tournament goals, I think 9 or 10, so just love bigger games.
Yeah, which brings me to the next point, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So how do you transition? Tell me about this. Does the coach talk to the other coach?
You can't do any of that because NCAA purposes.
So help me understand.
So basically,
how'd you get to
during SMU, we had during my class alone, I had 4 or 5 transfers out throughout the 2 years I was there.
Okay.
And so there was basically players weren't happy with some of the coaching, blah, blah, blah. Some maybe were homesick or whatever. And so our team was kind of tearing. And then my sophomore year of playing, so technically junior year of school, but sophomore year of eligibility, I had a really good season. I think like I was voted, I don't know, I got like first or second team all conference, got a bunch of accolades, had like 10 or 8, 9 goals. But then like after that, going into the off season, our coach kind of was basically like asking me more so what stuff to do, and so I kind of wanted to expand and see what else was out there.
Okay.
And then
He was asking you.
well, I kind of like just kind of what ideas we needed to keep working on, and I honestly just wanted to be challenged a little more because the value of players was slowly decreasing, meaning like they're transferring out.
Okay.
So like out of my class, I was the 5th one to transfer.
Okay.
So it was like this kid Zach, he went on to Creighton, another kid Andrew went on to IU, another kid went to Akron.
Holy
So
cow.
these like all of us we're like all top. Yeah, these aren't just recruiting into bad schools.
So did this situation is just kind of just like.
And then another one
happen
transferred to
like
UCLA.
Okay.
Well, it was like, so AJ transferred the first year after our freshman year, or after our freshman fall.
Uh-huh.
He was kind of a little homesick and definitely mad he wasn't playing much. And then Barnes and Robbie, they transferred next. And then I transferred, and then this other kid transferred to UCLA.
So
they transferred after our sophomore year of school. I transferred after my junior year.
And this is just ironic.
Yeah.
Like, this
well,
just happened.
I mean, kind of. It was coaching too. I mean, coaching is a thing that comes down to.
But I mean, in the big picture.
That doesn't happen. Not 5 of your best players. Pretty much like if
That's what I'm saying.
we
That's
talk
what-
sometimes,
that's what I'm
and if we would have all stayed at that school, we probably would have won a national championship. Because AJ, the kid who went to IU, he won a national championship. I made it to the Elite Eight twice. He made it, like 2 other guys made it to the Final Four.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's like all of us were playing on a very good team and contributing big time minutes and goals and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it was like if we all kind of stayed together, it would have probably been a
Interesting.
lethal combination there.
Interesting. So let's circle back.
Mm-hmm.
How do you communicate with UNC?
So basically, what you have to do is you just have to tell your school you want to get your release, and so
Okay.
they release you. Once you get released,
then you can.
then you're able to contact. So basically, I told my school what schools I wanted them to send my release out to. And in soccer, you're allowed to transfer once without having to sit out. So other sports you have to sit out. In the NCAA.
You can transfer.
Unless you go conference in conference. So if you transfer, like I was in, we were in like.
This is big for parents to understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
So if you're in at SMU we were in Conference USA. So if I were to transfer to, there's a school, we played Memphis. So if I went to transfer to Memphis, I would have had to sit out a year because
Okay.
you're in conference.
Okay.
So I transferred out of conference, so therefore I was able to play. Also, your coach has the right to kind of cancel your block your what's the word I'm looking, your release statement, your release form or whatever. So you could kind of block it and then you could kind of fight it, but usually they don't. So that's also another thing you could come into though. And then they also have the ability to block what schools they send it to if they're on their schedule in the next coming seasons, like the next season or the season after. So there's all these little stipulations.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
I
so
didn't
then
know-
I had
I didn't
them-
know that.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So I had them send it out to North Carolina, UCLA, like UIC, Creighton, and then UC Santa Barbara.
Cool.
Yeah.
And UNC says we want Tyler.
I almost went to UCLA.
Really?
Yeah, I could have went to either one.
Okay.
Actually, like I've always loved North Carolina. So basically, I went on a visit to North Carolina, and I already had my UCLA visit set up the next week. And so, like, I go into there, and the coach basically, like, kind of found out that I was going on a visit there, and he told me, like, we want you here, blah, blah, so this is our offer, and if you don't accept it now, then we're taking it off the table. Or if you basically saying...
If you leave right now, we're not you.
Yeah,
You're basically
he
saying
didn't want me to go to UCLA to visit it, basically.
Understood.
I went to Creighton the week before that. And then another thing players got to realize is there's not too much money in college soccer for scholarships. There's 9.9. So, like, very few players will get a full.
There's 9.9.
9.9 per team. 9.9 scholarships per soccer team.
Okay.
So, like, when I was at SMU, my first year, I, 25 or 50. Then that stayed the same, and then after
Is
that,
that an NCAA rule?
yeah, that's the most you could have. If you're a fully funded program in the NCAA, there's 9.9 scholarships for soccer. So NCAA has to have this, and if you're an NCAA school, you have to have the same amount of scholarships.
So it doesn't matter what the tuition cost is.
Women?
Doesn't matter.
No,
it's
doesn't matter at all.
Scholarship, full scholarship.
9.9.
9.9 of them. Okay.
Yeah, doesn't matter at all.
Per team.
Per
season.
per soccer team, per men's soccer team. So then they're
Right.
different. Yeah,
Right.
because they gotta basically, because of Title
interesting.
IX, you have to have the same amount of scholarships for boys and girls. So football gets all those scholarships, so they gotta counteract another team, take away some from them because 53 scholarships, and then women have to have the same amounts. You know,
Gotcha.
you just have to level the playing field.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Cool. So you go to UNC,
yeah.
different level,
I mean,
similar level,
It's
just different
it's not-
environment.
I'd say more different kind of training style and player style.
Okay.
Every single player, except a few of the walk-ons, obviously there's some walk-ons, but like, it's soccer or die.
Yeah.
Like, you get a lot of national team residency kids, meaning like went through the national team youth system where like they were training in Bradenton with them when they were like 15 up to 18. You get a lot of those kids.
Gotcha.
So a lot of residency kids and real competitive.
That's true.
And
It's
like our
those-
second squad would be like better than majority of the first squad. We have there's so much depth there.
Yeah, because those coaches at that level, UNC,
Yeah.
you know, Indiana, Notre
Yeah.
Dame, you know, they're picking out of the national.
Yeah, they get
They're
to
li-
pluck players. They're
Yeah.
not really. They like even when my freshman year, like if you get a full scholarship to go to UNC as a freshman, you're basically the number one crew in the nation. You know, there's very
Makes
few.
sense.
So like
Makes sense.
they would like I would have had to have been a preferred walk on my freshman year,
I see.
which is like very common.
Okay.
There's only like and the only way that you won't be a preferred walk-on kind of at UNC as a freshman is if kind of as if you're in state or as if you're in a residency program.
Okay.
Because you got to think. So like when I transferred, I had a full scholarship, so I'm getting one of those full scholarships. And then they already have kids who basically are on full scholarship because they were freshman number one recruit in the nation. You know, so they're gonna get that full scholarship. And then like another kid, like we had this other kid who transferred, Andy, he was on full. So right there's 3 scholarships gone.
Gotcha.
And so you got 7 scholarships now for the rest of the team. But like a school like UNC that's public gets so lucky because if you're in state, it's $4,000 to go to the school, or like probably like 7 now. But when I was going, it was like $4,500. It was the best public. So
I see.
and the scholarships are for full scholarships, so they can give a kid in North Carolina a full scholarship, but that'll only take away like 0.4 of the allocated 9.9 they get.
Which is a ton of leverage.
Yeah, and so if you ever look at North Carolina roster, there's probably like 15 kids from North Carolina. There really is. So
Makes sense.
Yeah, and that's another little business aspect, politics that people don't understand.
People need to know this.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Parents, if you have more questions, contact Tyler. He knows his stuff.
Yeah,
Just email him or something.
I hear you.
So, big time goals.
Yeah,
Was it your junior year or senior year? I watched you guys play Notre Dame.
Junior year I had
Junior year.
Yeah, that
Yeah, it was a
really
nice
nice
goal.
goal against Notre Dame.
Yeah, first half.
Yeah,
I
we
was at
one,
that game.
Yeah,
That was
a lot
awesome.
of you guys were there. That's like
Yeah.
what my celebration was to run to all you guys. Yeah, it was like 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 4, maybe 1 versus 2. We were 1 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably like the
You had
best
some
goal
good-
I've ever scored, but not the biggest goal I've ever scored.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I've
I remember it. You had to like fight one dude off, fight another dude off,
Yeah.
and you just poke this ball
I chipped the goal
perfectly over the
Yeah.
goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was ridiculous. I got like a 60-yard ball and just took it out of the air over the kid's head, and then took a touch with like my thigh, and this other guy was coming, and I just like chipped it over the goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
You
pretty
had
nice.
the fans standing up. Like.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was one of the cooler feelings ever, just because a lot of like you guys were there that
Yeah.
got to come
It's
and
kinda
see.
like
I had like
hometown a
40
little bit.
fans,
Yeah.
at the game. Because obviously I went to school in
Samber
Dallas.
Samber
kids.
Yeah.
I went to school in Dallas and then Raleigh, so it's not like I'm playing games around here
Sure.
in college. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. So other than that, like what was some of your biggest? What was your biggest moment at UNC? Funnest moment.
I mean, biggest. Our senior year, man, we had a crazy run. So We lost in the Elite Eight to UCLA in penalties. We got a red card 10 minutes into the game, and we went up 1-0. They end up making it 3-1 into the second in the second half with like 10 minutes left. I scored a goal on like a corner to make it 3-2, and then this other kid Andy the next play made it 3-3. That was one of the bigger goals, but we end up striving all the way back, a man down. We have an opportunity to win the game, and then our fifth kicker misses it. We end up losing in the eighth. That was one of like the craziest moments ever in my career, that game, because if we would have won that, we would have been for sure the national championships. That's just salty.
And that was against
UCLA. So the
two
two
schools went to.
Yeah, there's two schools that I always went to. The other school I always went to.
Right.
And then, but during that run, so we played. I think it was the Sweet 16 was Clemson. The round of 32. We somehow we weren't seeded going into the tournament because we had like a bad little spell. We were number one in the nation for like half the season, and then we lost 3 games in a row. So we ended up not being ranked going in. So we had a decent run. We had to play some good teams.
Yeah.
So we went in. The first game it was easy. We won 6-0. Second game we're playing number 10 in the nation, Charlotte. Pouring rain. I ended up actually having 2 goals that game. We won 2-1. I scored a goal with like 50 seconds left on the clock to take the lead. So it was like 1-1. And the ball kind of gets played in, hits the crossbar, comes rolling out to me. I just rip a lefty, it goes in. That was a pretty awesome feeling with 50 seconds left in Charlotte.
Oh my god!
So that was a really rowdy, intense goal.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That was probably one of the bigger goals. That was a great game, but let me think. I scored some big goals at SMU, some overtime goals.
Okay.
One in one of them was, I think, to secure the conference against Marshall. Yeah. So that was a big goal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Goals are fun. You know.
So how do you get you're finishing up UNC.
Yeah.
Tell me about what's going through your mind towards the end of the season.
So yeah.
UNC. Obviously there's talks here and there about pro and what are you feeling? What's being told to you? What are you looking to do?
Yeah, I mean at this time, right after you get all these, you're getting calls from.
Coffee?
I'm good.
Okay.
You're getting calls from. If you're gonna get more, I'll take a little, I guess. Okay. Thanks, brother. So basically, after the season's over, you're allowed to talk to agents. Once you're done, with everything. So I started to get contacted by agents. First thing I'm thinking maybe homegrown, maybe not. Then if not that, you want to get into the combine.
Right.
The combine's where they take the best 70 players and you compete.
Okay.
So a little bit of the politics, I kind of got screwed by the politics there. So I was in contention to be a homegrown player. Fire decided not to hire me, or basically sign me as a homegrown player. My coach at UNC said he thought that I was going to be signed homegrown. And so he didn't nominate me for the combine, so I didn't get into the combine, so I wasn't able to, basically the combine happens 3 days before the draft. And so you go out to wherever it is, and there's all these players, and you compete against, and you show off why, you're better than blah, blah, blah. So this is that's a huge thing if you're not getting a homegrown contract. So I didn't get that, and honestly, I didn't even know if I was going to get drafted, but then I ended up getting drafted and went out to Toronto.
Wow.
So it's definitely a little stressful. That's kind of some of the reasons why you stop playing. Because there's definitely a lot of politics, but that's a talk for a different time.
Day.
Yeah.
So that's cool, man. So again, playing at some of the highest level in American soccer.
Yeah.
You're now coaching here in outside Chicago in South Suburbs, Orland Park, right?
Yep.
Doing private trainings only, right, or small groups?
Small groups, exactly.
So
little clinics.
So
and
I think there's 2 main private training organizations in the Chicago area.
Mm-hmm.
Futbol Training Academy and Tyler Training.
Absolutely.
So I just had to establish that. But based on your experience, all the things you went through, from starting with your older brother, being a little guy, having to prove yourself, working on mentality, self-awareness, SMU, UNC. Out of all of that stuff, what goes into your curriculum if you will, to what main things are you trying to implement with the kids that you're training, like in today's
Absolutely,
time?
yeah. So technique,
Okay.
definitely work ethic too.
Yeah.
And obviously then when they get a little more advanced and they're doing that, then you just start positioning all the fun, then more of the soccer IQ stuff. But first start off is technique, whether dribbling, passing, shooting. All three of those need to have the right technique because there's 7 different ways to pass the ball,
Yeah.
There's not just one way.
Right.
There's 6, 7 different ways to shoot a ball.
Right.
So you always want to, and then work rate, how hard they're going through. Like just doing a drill, anybody can kind of go through the drill at 50% and not make a mistake.
Right.
Who's the person who could go through the drill 100% was hard, I agree, but say even 95% without making a mistake. And then we speed it up to 100.
Yeah.
And so that's even what I focus on. I'd rather, what I preach is quality over quantity.
Okay.
I'd rather 10 awesome reps than you do 1,000 crappy, reps.
Huge.
Because what your brain registers when you do it correctly is the right stuff, right? You do it the wrong way, but you're doing it 1,000 times. Your brain just literally implanted the wrong stuff in your brain for 1,000 times.
That's perfect.
Perfectly so that's not good.
Right.
Right. And so that's literally what I emphasize. If anything, is probably the most.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So with kids these days, you got kids at all these clubs, you got these academies, now you have these development academies.
Yeah.
This youth soccer environment is like always changing.
Yeah.
It seems like it's like always changing.
Totally
Different
is.
things are hot at the moment, whatever the case may be. For the individual player who's looking to develop and get better within himself, what should this kid be doing on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis that goes beyond what the club or the academies are providing?
Playing, for sure playing, running on your own,
Okay?
and watching the game.
Watching the game.
Watching the game, for me, I learned so much. When they watch the game, you don't just watch the game.
Yeah.
So, if you're watching the game, obviously you're watching, but that's not what
Tune in, guys. Here we go.
So if you're watching the game, for me, what I would do, I was playing like an attacking mid or a winger. What I focused on the most when I was watching those games, what type of movement is that player in my position doing? So if I'm, say we're just watching an Arsenal. What is Mesut Ozil doing as a 10? Where is his movements? How is he checking in? Where is he turning? Where is he finding the pockets?
Yes. Where's he not going?
Where exactly? Even well said. Even more. Where is he not going? Yeah. Now as a winger, where is he checking into the ball? Where is he not? Then when they don't have the ball, where is he in shape? Is he just hanging out on the side? No, he's tucked in, linked up with players. So that's where you got to realize. For defensive shape.
Yeah.
Don't only watch them when they have the ball. You got to, because that's what all these players are so worried about is the ball.
Yeah.
Literally, what is not preached and taught enough in America is off-the-ball movement.
Thank you.
Off-the-ball movement is so vital and so crucial to soccer. That is soccer.
Yeah.
If you don't have options, that's even why somebody like a Pep Guardiola, all of his teams kill it. Because when guys get the ball, every single player has 3-4 options. I watch a lot of his teams, and if you watch, that's what I try to even implement after him.
Yeah.
If you watch his style, guys get the ball, they have 3-4 options. That's what you want. You don't want just one option. Why? One option, then the defenders know where you're going.
Yes.
Then it's so easy to predict.
Right.
And how you do that is shape, move, work as a unit, off the ball movement. You get what I mean? Not just the ball.
Yes.
Because if everybody's worried about the ball, there's no way 4 guys are going to be open for him,
Absolutely.
They got to work off that. So that's a huge thing.
Kids aren't doing that.
No, not at all.
And you know what? It's not incredibly difficult.
No, it's not.
Just watch a game.
I
Like
know.
you're saying. Everything you just said, whoever's listening needs to write down what you just said. Write
I
down,
agree. That
watch
helped
a
me out
game
so much.
and write out the answers.
That's even to this day, I watch so much soccer. I still learn.
And if you're a 12-year-old kid and you do what you just said
For the next 4 years?
for one season.
Yeah.
Just one season.
One season, even.
Do it every week for one season. See where it takes you. Just see what happens because no other kids are doing it right now.
No, they're not.
Maybe 5%, maybe 1%, maybe 2%.
Yeah. No, you're right. I know it because I train a lot of kids.
That's huge. Okay, what else do you implement? What else are you talking about? What else should kids be doing these days?
So technical, just playing. I mean, try to get as many touches every day as you can.
Yeah.
Comfort on the ball is what you want.
Yeah.
And then even if everybody's so high on juggling, I mean, yeah, it's really good, but there's like a famous quote by Nesta. I mean, it's cool. You could juggle 100 balls on the side of the field. What technique is to me, can you receive a ball with the guy on your back control it, and then find the right pass.
While you're running.
That's soccer technique to me.
That's
not
true.
technique just juggling. So like that's good, but if you're doing that, what they should start doing is popping the ball up real high, trying to keep it going, then bring it down, control, up,
Variations.
down, up, down. You know what I mean? Stuff like that will definitely help.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What else?
Um,
What else you think? I mean, this is valuable stuff.
yeah. No. I mean, I'm just trying to think.
Yeah.
There's only so what did I cover?
Let me ask you this. So, for me, I like to advise on 3 environments
Mm-hmm.
that a kid should be playing as a
Mhm.
youth player. Structured environment, free environment,
Mhm.
where it's just for fun,
Yeah.
and like personal environment, where it's on your own.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
That's a good way of putting it, definitely. Do you want to be doing some sort of pickup type activity? Because that allows you just to try creative stuff.
Exactly.
Like, you don't want to be doing that type of stuff in training.
Right.
Because your trainings, you want to be high level where you're holding yourself accountable like it's a game.
Right.
Too many times training sessions are too easy and like too nonchalant, meaning you go in there, you're okay with giving the ball away, you know, in possession. Guess what? You start doing that that builds habits.
Right.
And that's such a big, crucial thing for me is habit.
Right.
But like you said, structure's good too then. Because why? Now you're actually learning how to play as a team.
Right.
You got to be able to play as a unit. Because if you're one solo player, soccer's a team game. You know?
Exactly.
No matter who you are. I mean, you're not going to make it if you're only going to be standing out by yourself.
Right.
You know? And then always need to be personal. Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it, to be honest. Because you always need to be doing stuff on your own.
Yeah, 100%.
Always.
So how often should these kids be training?
As much as you can. When
Okay.
I was younger, man, I was playing. You don't get tired when you're young. Kidding me? You know, we would go to the cage for 10 hours.
Yeah.
So stay there from
I love
10
that you
to-
brought this up. So, for those of you who are listening, us suburban kids would pack into my Suburban, usually,
Yeah.
or whoever's
whoever's driving.
and we would drive to the city. And they had this park in the city. It was like this 5-on-5 field.
Yeah.
And we would go to the city. We would park at a church. We'd walk to the park.
Yep.
And we would play against all these inner city kids.
Yep.
And sometimes we played till like midnight.
Yep.
And we just played freely.
Yeah.
Like, this
At
5
times,
and it was
few
got
Latin Kings came by and tried to holler at us.
Latin Kings came by.
We were definitely in a
We
bad
had
area.
to. We kind of had to stop playing for
yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. That was when we decided to leave at that night.
But
that exactly
But
what you're
that-
saying. That alone just helps you so much
dude,
because you're getting tired, but you're having so much fun that you're working on your touch in such a high atmosphere that's uncomfortable, you know?
it for me, it calls to the love for the game
Absolutely.
that we had.
Definitely,
for
the
us,
passion we had.
For us kids to pack in a car,
Yeah.
drive out to the city, you know, and play underneath the alley light
Yeah.
with city kids.
In an area we didn't even know.
In an area we didn't even know.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
were the only white kids there.
Totally.
Period.
We were called the Gringos.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the Gringos here, and then everybody be coming. They knew it was on. They knew when the Gringos came, it was game on, dude. It was game
My
on.
point is like, what time is it?
It's 1.
One.
Still
Okay.
got some time.
My point is like, kids, you gotta play.
Yeah, you gotta play as
You gotta
much as
find
you
a way
can.
to play it. Find a way to love the
Absolutely.
game. Find a way to play as much as you can.
100%.
And
100%. Couldn't
So,
agree
yeah.
more.
Is there anything else we gotta talk about, Tyler? Anything else these parents need to know? Anything else these kids need to know? What do you think?
I mean, there's endless information, you know. They always can be learning.
Yeah.
I think we covered a good gist, though.
Yeah.
Sure,
Cool.
we'll be able to have another talk after
Cool.
and branch off, you know.
Well, let's do this. Wherever this is posted, eventually, if there's an area to comment, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's wherever it's posted,
leave
ask
suggestions, or
Yeah.
exactly. Leave questions that you'd kind of like to hear covered or whatnot. 100%.
And then either I or Tyler or both of us can answer them. So
Definitely.
cool,
Awesome.
dude. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, my pleasure.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good time. Good time.
All right, that's it. See you guys.
All right. Thanks, guys, for coming out.